Thank you so very much, everyone, for joining us again. Today is Thursday, and of course, the week is moving faster than some of us had anticipated. We're not supposed to be grateful for that gift of life and the opportunity to see another day. I'm Mofwebe. As always, we are welcoming you to this edition of Global Morning with so much of delight. Juma Enriquez Manson, you are just that lady in red they sang about several decades ago. How do you feel now?
Well, I feel fantastic. I feel great. Thank God for life. It's great to be here.
I can imagine.
It's a beautiful Thursday morning. One of my best weathers, it's rain. This particular one. I love it when it rains. I just love everything about the ambience, the sweetness, and all that it brings. Of course, we're supposed to have our coffee, but the job must go on.
Of course.
But it's a beautiful day. It's Thursday. It's an amazing day, and of course, I am Juma Manson, and it's great to be here doing this side by side with my amazing co-host with amazing glasses, by the way, Uyi Agbomofoigwe.
I should give Juma 2 thumbs up for that. That's the least I can do on live television. Well, quite frankly, I basically agree with you on the issue of the weather. This morning, a few colleagues and I were just appreciating how that nobody wins them all. People don't have the same realities. One was talking about somewhere in Europe where he had an experience. The other one talked about a few other places across our continent where he also had his own unique experience, and then back at home and things like that. We don't have winter here, we don't have autumn, we don't have summer and all of that. But we have some of those elements that are also peculiar to us. So we can't sit here and wish we were living somewhere in Russia or in Iceland, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
Right, but with all of these rains, 1 minute, the next you have a lot of sunshine, and at some point in between you have Harmattan.
Which is our own winter, by the way.
Right, we should be grateful for that.
That's one of my best times.
You mean winter without snow?
Winter without snow. But once we have the Harmattan, we should be grateful. I love it when it's cold. I love it. I love it so much. And of course the rain, the best.
Rain,
So at least we should be thankful. We might not have it. They say you can't have it all.
Nobody has it all.
No, you cannot have it all. But for the ones that we have, we're grateful for. Because compared to other countries of the world, they have earthquakes, tornadoes, because these climate changes bring all of these things at the same time. But we don't have that. We have rain, we have Harmattan, we have sunshine, and really sun.
A lot of sun, right?
A lot of sun. But at the same time, let's be grateful, let's be thankful for that balance that we have. We should be grateful and thankful.
I totally agree with you on that. Really.
You should.
I think one of the things that really plague us in Africa, again, in particular Nigeria, when it has to do with the weather, particularly the rain, is the infrastructure, public infrastructure.
Yes.
First of all, you have to look at the roads. How motorable are they even without the rains? How worse a state are they going to be in when the rains kicking, full throttle? And then you look at other concerns like public transportation system.
Oh, yes.
They are a bit intertwined, but you still realize that if you have to commute, it's going to be much more difficult for you because of, again, the way our system here is structured. You don't have the metro system.
No, we don't.
Right.
No,
I think the BRT is the best to have.
Yes,
which again is still, for some, for obvious reasons, trying to get things off the ground. It's not even close to where it should be in 2026. So we're saying that to say that in this day and age, we must be able to think and execute as a government, all right, in line with the reality of today. Otherwise, it's just going to be us hating the weather. I think people have no reason to hate the weather, whether it's the rain or the sun. If you have a system that, quote unquote, understands that rains will come, sun will shine, but in the middle of it all, we've got to be able to be a step ahead of the elements.
Very true, and that is why I am an advocate for precautionary measures. It's very important. We might not have all the gadgets, but we should have at the back of our minds that the world has evolved. Other countries around the world, they understand that once it's raining, there are particularly devices and methods, transportation, all of that put into place to actually, for everyone to acclimatize with. So it doesn't become like a struggle, or it doesn't become overbearing or tiring at the same time. So I think we have a lot to learn. We can actually learn from other countries around the world, because we really, in the words of some of our guests that we've had here, we can make this happen if we put our mind to it. We can. So it's all about understanding that the world has evolved and the world can actually play the same line with whatever weather conditions in which we have. We have one of the best, Nigerians are one of the best when it comes to creativity, intellect, intelligence, and we can actually make that work if we put our minds to it.
Well, let's put our minds to it. I think that's what matters really at this point in time. And again, we need to also understand that there is this advisory now from NIMET warning that there's going to be flooding in certain states.
Yes.
Incidentally, my home state, my dear, darling, beloved state of
Edo. About Edo State?
It's amazing how you know this thing.
I just want to put that out there.
Right, thank you. The records are set straight now. Can we move on? So, Edo State is part of is one of those states. Of course, we have a bunch of states in that spectrum where the authorities are saying that look, you've got to plan ahead. You've got to be very, very deliberate, intentional, because there's going to be flooding, right? So this advisory is happening to get you ready early enough. If you have to move people from certain areas, move them upland or something, you've got to do that. If you have to set up some sort of temporary shelters, this is the best time to make that happen. If you need to plan around logistics, whatever it is you have to do, you have to train people, this is the best time because we do not have control over the weather. Nobody can say for sure. Yes, we largely rely on the weather forecast, but things can still change.
Yes.
Acts of God as they call them.
Yes, it is.
So it just simply means that government must think beyond elections and politics and understand that people have to be alive long enough, healthy enough to be able to participate in those activities. So we shouldn't take these advisories lightly if we really want to make progress as a people. If you look around Nigeria today, there's so much of ecological problem, especially in the southern part of the country. You see gullies all over the place. You hear of allegations and counter-allegations of people who have embezzled these funds over time that were supposed to have been plowed into fixing these ecological problems. But I'm sure time will fail us to go into all of that. But government must be seen to be responsible in terms of how it responds to issues around the environment.
It's very important. It's not too much to ask. These are the basics that as Nigerians we actually need. And for me, I feel every year on, we always go through this same issue of flooding. And some of these states that are mentioned are the ones that are still mentioned again. So that precautionary measure goes a long way in order to plan. I know it's act of God, but at least have a solution to, okay, if it comes this way, this is how we're going to plan. If it comes this way, this is how we're going to plan. It mustn't be the same way as it is. But it's unfortunate that we do not have that precautionary measures. We keep going through the same old every single time. We talk about the same thing 2 years ago, the year before, last year, and now this year. And now the rains have already come. And now we're talking about precautionary measures. I think it's when it's dry season, you talk about precautionary measures ahead of the raining seasons. Not when the rain has come and then you come out and you say all of these things. It's just unfortunate but the thing is, for as much as an act of God, we know when rains will start. So if you're going to evacuate people who are on the lands, when it comes to the upper land, you would have done that when it was at the dry season. You have to, all of these things. It's not rocket science really. So at the same time, precautionary measures for me is number one top gear, and I hope we try as much as possible to put our weight behind that. So, there are some things that are avoidable, really, so that you do not destabilize children, you don't destabilize a lot of things. There are other ways, you have to think ahead, come ahead. That's what you owe the people. That is what you owe, and that is why you are there. And of course, these are the basics. We're not asking for too much. We do not ask for too much.
Nigerians never ask for too much, quite frankly. Nigerians are happy people by default.
Yes, we are.
Once governments, whether at the local, subnational, or national level, is able to provide them the very minimal rights, they are good to go, as I say. And you realize that people don't even get to ask questions much as to how public fund or funding is going. Let's take a break now. The rest of the program will continue shortly. To stay with us.
All right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, have you missed a lot? Have they missed a lot?
No, not really. We're just getting started. Table is about to get set.
Calm down, Uyi.
I'm trying to be in my generous mood on a Thursday morning.
Okay. Indirectly, Uyi is the foodie. But all the same, it's great to be back. And yes, Uyi said you've not missed a lot because the program just started already. But at about this time, let's get breakfast ideas. And if you're wondering what that is all about, well, this is the Taste and Texture segment. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone and welcome to Taste and Texture. Today we are going to be preparing boiled plantain and egg sauce. For the boiled plantain, we'll be needing the following: ripe fresh plantain, knife and clean pot, water. Here is the process of preparing boiled plantain. Wash and cut or dice your fresh ripe plantain into few pieces. In a clean pot, add your diced and washed ripe plantains. Add water, salt and cover to cook for a few minutes. Drop and drain the water, and then after a few minutes peel the boiled plantain and set aside. For the egg sauce, we will be needing a few fresh pieces of raw eggs. In a clean bowl, break your raw eggs and whisk. Get your clean frying pan and add oil to fry. Add your pepper, mix and stir for a few minutes. Then add Maggi and other seasoning of your choice. Then stir and add corned beef. Optional. Also stir your already whisked eggs and finally add parsley and stir it. Our boiled plantain and egg sauce is ready. That's it on this episode of the show. I hope you will try this recipe at home. Join me again on Taste and Texture next time. I am Sadia Yakubu. See you again.
All right, you're welcome back, and that is the Taste and Texture segment on Global Television. Hope you enjoy that segment when it comes to plantain and eggs. And I've told you, I might be a foodie, but don't say the lady that what you said behind the camera.
No, I just so we're clear, no ambiguity, right? I said
don't say it.
The lady in the kitchen should be the person to come do a back sell of this breakfast idea that we just saw. But quite frankly, Juma, can you separate a foodie from the kitchen? I'm just wondering.
Well, I feel you can, because you can like food and you might not want to.
Foodies cannot be trusted.
Yeah, feelings cannot be trusted, especially when you see the stew at the right. Yeah, it's true.
For me, I think the temptation is that tendency to want to start eating off the scrambled egg before plantain gets fried.
Yeah, but the truth is, some people have self-discipline because the aroma alone.
You think I'm one of those people in terms of food?
No. But at the same time, people say that the aroma alone fills up the tummy, so before you're done.
Wow.
But if
you're the one fixing the
yes, exactly.
Okay.
But if you're the one preparing, but at the same time, once your food, when you see the plantain, you just have to.
It calls your name.
It just says it. Hi, Juma. Oh my God, can you look at the... All right, hope you try that. Hope you will be trying out that breakfast idea, plantain and, of course, scrambled eggs, but it could be boiled if you want to. It depends on what you are looking at. And the next segment is...
Well, it's Ramsey Enoch, the gentleman who is always in a generous mood every weekday to bring us inspirational here on the program.
Hello and welcome to another beautiful day right here. It is Heart to Heart Inspirational. And of course, my name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Your voice matters. That's what we want to look at today. Your voice matters. Okay. It doesn't matter. When we say your voice matters, what are we talking about? Is it that you are talkative? Is it that you are loquacious? Is it that you are a lingua franca? You can speak a lot of languages. Is that what we mean when we say your voice matters? A lot of voices have gone down the drain today A lot of good voices, all right? When we say your voice matters, are we talking about the fact that you can sing or you are a poet? No, it's beyond that. Let me give you something right now. Silence has cost the world many solutions. Somewhere, someone needed your voice, but you never knew. But one of the things that have stopped a lot of people, a lot of voices from being heard, a lot of opinions from being shared, a lot of talents from being manifested is fear. Fear of what will happen if it doesn't go my way. My voice, are you sure my idea is going to count? Are you sure my opinion matters? Your voice is needed at several places for several reasons, but fear convinced you to stay quiet. You see what fear does? What is fear? In the actual sense of it, let me define fear for you. Fear is spelled F-E-A-R. Let me give you the acronym of fear. Fear is false evidence appearing to be real. That is false evidence appearing real. F for fear, E for evidence, A for appearing, then R for real. It is not real, but it's appearing to be real. You see, you've been quiet because of fear. You've been quiet because of maybe you feel you're going to be embarrassed, whereas you have a very good idea. Some people can never share their ideas. All right. I'm not saying you should share your vision to dream killers. That's not what I'm saying. Please, let's get this right, because I tell people all the time, it's not everybody you share your dreams with. If you are in doubt, please go and ask Joseph, his own brother. You remember what they did to him. I'm not saying you should share your dream with every Dick and Harry. Your plans, go and share your plans with everyone you see on the road. In fact, people, it's not even good to talk too much. Anywhere you go, you are just like a typewriter. 200 words in 1 minute. Habba. That's not the kind of voicing, speaking that I'm talking about. All right? Your voice carries story. It carries your experience. And it carries your perspective. And a lot of people will tell you that a closed mouth is a closed destiny. A closed mouth is a closed destiny. A lot of people cannot be helped because, number one, they don't know the right people to even talk to. A lot of people are talking to the wrong persons per time. First of all, you need to know where and when your voice is supposed to be heard. You need to know where and when you need to speak. You don't speak everywhere. You don't talk everywhere. You should not be predictable. When people see you, they should not say, you don't they come. We know. Then before you know what is happening, you landed the venue and 200 words per minute. And you're not even making sense with what you're saying. It's embarrassing. That's not the kind of voice that I'm talking about. The voice that comes with quality. The voice that comes with perspective to every situation. The voice that comes with an experience that someone can learn from and become successful in life. A voice that carries stories that stands the test of time. Do you know that you go to some places and you share your story or maybe an experience or a perspective and somebody catch their vision? Yes. Somebody might just be around there. This is somebody that has been thinking, all right, of what to do in life. What do I even need to do in life? What am I in life for? Some people are even thinking suicide because they don't know what to do. Life doesn't mean anything to them. Then you come there, you begin to share stories, you begin to share testimonies, you begin to say some kind of positive things, and these people begin to realize themselves. They begin to discover themselves, because in every word that you speak, somebody is hearing, and every word that you hear per time have an impact in your life, either negatively or positively. And that's the reason I tell people all the time, it's not everyone you listen to. Be careful what you hear all the time, Be careful who you give your ears to. Be careful who you share your moments with. What you have survived qualifies you to speak. What you've learned positions you to help other people. You don't need to be a perfect person to be impactful. You don't need perfection to be impactful. That thing you are hiding, that story you are hiding, that idea you are hiding, that inspiration you are hiding could be something that can change somebody's life forever. A lot of us are supposed to be making impacts with our voices, but we are hidden. We are trampled in fear. You need authenticity, as a matter of fact. Let me give you an instance. This is just an illustration. A candle, we all know what a candle is. A candle doesn't just lose light by lighting another candle. All right? You get that. You light a candle, for instance, then you use that candle to light another candle. The first candle that you use in lighting the second candle does not lose its light. That is impact there. It has made impact, but it never affected it in any way. Now, your voice doesn't diminish others. It multiplies impact. That is, I'm talking about a positive voice, all right? A positive voice. Okay? There are some people that if they come and they speak, you hear wisdom. You spend 2 minutes with some persons. When they want to leave, you say, you'll be feeling bad. I wish this person can stay with me a little more time. Because these are people that their voices multiply impact. Maybe you knew something before. Why am I saying this? Let me establish this. I'm saying all of this so that you know the kind of people you listen to. You know the kind of voices you listen to. And you on your own part should know that your voice needs to be heard. Except you know the import of it. You will just keep quiet where you are supposed to speak. You are not making impact. It doesn't diminish you. If you make impact, it doesn't affect you. But then it lightens somebody's world. Maybe to somebody that is downcasted, somebody that is about committing suicide, somebody who is feeling lonely, just a word from you can make somebody's day. Like I was telling someone some times back, just a smile, good morning, how you doing, can make someone feel big. Exchange of smile. By the time you smile to someone and the person smiles back, it's have a way of making people feel good, of setting people's day, a good pace for people's day. Stop minimizing your stories. Speak, even when your voice is shaky. Share what you know now, all right? Share what you know now. Because maybe by the time you want to speak it the next time, it may not be as valuable as it is when that inspiration comes. All right? When you have the leading to do it, go ahead and do it. Maybe you want to start a business, for instance, and there is someone around you you need to speak to. Don't hold it back. If you have the leading to speak to the person, go ahead and do it. Your voice, okay? Your voice is someone else's breakthrough, in case you don't know. All right? Your voice is someone else's breakthrough, but you may not know that. Okay? Your voice, your own voice, is somebody else's breakthrough. Open your mouth. Speak the truth. Speak it out. The world is waiting for your sound. The world is waiting for your manifestation. The world is waiting for you to let that thing out of you. Especially when you know it's inspiring. Especially when you know it's going to stop someone from maybe committing suicide. Because a lot of people are confused in this generation. They don't even know what to do. And that's why you have a lot of photocopy. We have few originals. A lot of people are duplicates of other people's ideas, of other people's lifestyle, of other people's opinion. But you got a voice. Your voice can shape somebody's destiny forever. What are you waiting for? What are you scared of? Fear have stopped a lot of people from doing so many things, from taking a particular step they need to take. But today, I want to charge you. I want to inspire you. I want to speak to your heart that your voice, there are people today, let me say this, I think I need to say this, because you don't know who is listening to what you're saying. In that meeting, in that gathering, all right, you don't know if your destiny helper is there. Maybe a contribution that you want to make as you're trying to make sense on time, it will give the person by your side, all right, an inspiration, an acumen, okay, to become what they have been planning to be. Your voice might be a witness to what the Spirit is telling them, to what their mind is telling them, to what their instinct is telling them. So speak it out. Stop holding it back. Congratulations, everyone, listening to the sound of my voice right now, because you are a success, going somewhere to happen, a voice that the world will reckon with. And as expectation of a lot of creature is the manifestation of people like you. Go, manifest, voice it out, say it. The truth. You should be known with saying the truth all the time. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debates, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
All right, you're welcome back. It's Global Morning on Global Television. And of course, that was Heart to Heart Inspirational with Ramsey Enoch Agbo. And hope you were well inspired by that segment. And now, at about this point, is a newspaper review segment. And the first paper of the day is the Punch newspaper. And beside the nameplate, it says 2027 race. Wike Turaki camps roll out parallel PDP candidates. And that read you will find on page 7. Now the Star story reads, State Police Bill lands in state assemblies. And the rider underneath said, Senate passes historic bill manually as electronic voting fails. And it says, lawmakers back decentralized policing to tackle terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping. Bill empowers governors to appoint police commissioners as Senate adopts safeguards against abuse, and that's on page 2. And on page 12 on the Punch, it says EFCC to arraign Meyati Allah leader in $2.53 million laundry probe. And on page 17, it says reps extend probe of airport, seaport concessions. And that's on page 12. It says abduction crisis, Oyo begs NUT to end school shutdown. And on page 12 again, it says ISIS funding, FG set to charge US sanctioned BDC operator. And on page 9, it says petrol remains pricey as crude crashes to $73. And on page 9, it says top banks raise tech budget by 43% in Q1. And basically, these are all the headlines on the Punch newspaper. Go out and get yourself a copy and be well informed to avoid fake news. Up next, we have the Daily Trust.
Left on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning starts with the Kika. 2027 PDP candidates to sign agreements against defection. Looks like the PDP is borrowing a leaf from the NDC. Plateau attack, how gunmen killed my pregnant sister in labor room. That's gruesome. Those very gory details are on page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper today. Plateau attack, how gunmen killed my pregnant sister in labor room. Organized private sector forced tax laws implementation. What could government have done better? You can read up on page 19. The big one reads, State Police gains ground as Senate passes bill. We understand the item has now moved to states for concurrence by the respective state houses of assembly. It turns out we have just a handful of headlines on the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, but be sure you read up for context and perspective. Our next port of call is the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, the Vanguard newspaper, and it says here above the nameplate, it says FG Gencos at war over electricity sector debt, and that's on page 19. On page 14, it says Oyo Can suspends vigils, directs churches to fence premises over security concerns. On page 9, and this is from Ononuga, it says, I don't see level of hunger Nigerians complain about. Okay. And on page 4, it says, OPE, growing role in helping Nigerians access financial services. And the Star story on the Vanguard, it says, Senate passes State Police Bill. And that's a step in the right direction. And that read you will find on page 26. And it says here, it's now Federal State Police Services. And the rider read replaces NPF with Federal State Police Services, detailed tight safeguard against abuse by governors, shifts Nigeria from unitary to federal policing model. President retains sweeping powers to seize control during state breakdown. And of course, still on the Vanguard, it says anti-terror action. FG orders banks, others to freeze assets of terrorism financiers. And that's a step in the right direction. Don't you think, Mr. Uye?
It is, definitely.
And on page 20, it says, bar to criminals. You can run, but you cannot hide. And that's on page 8. And below that, it says here on page 20, man confirms Vanguard newspaper data showing 1.9 trillion naira decline in credit to manufacturers. And on page 9 it says, again, NDLEA bust multi-million naira meth lab, arrest Mexican for Nigerians, and the audacity of the Mexican. And on page 11 it says 2027, nobody gives power, you must take it, Wike tells PDP. And basically those are all the major headlines. And of course my favorite column is the Mr. and Mrs. the cartoon column there. Go out and get yourself a copy of the Vanguard and be well abreast with the major issues making round. Next we have This Day.
All right, let's turn to This Day for you. Both the nameplates of This Day newspaper here with a couple of writers too. It says, all eyes on state governments. Senate passes Tinubu's state police and trust fund bills. 4 writers say proposal seeks constitutional backing for state-controlled policing nationwide. Bamidele says reform will tackle insecurity, strengthen federalism. Presidency, governors, attorneys general monitor proceedings. Sanwo-Olu hails Tinubu as champion of true federalism. All of those details you will find on the front page and continuing on page 8. LPPC suspends Ozekome's senior advocate's rank. Why is that the case? Read up starting from the front page and continue on page 8 as well. Back to criminals, you can run but cannot hide. Inaugurate Center for DNA Forensics and Investigation, launched Tinubu for State Police Reforms. AGF, Center a profound contribution to national security. IGP holds enormous opportunity to strengthen investigations. That's quite true. All right, those are your headlines, all of them, from the front page of This Day newspaper. Today is all on you now to read up details as you move into this promising day. And that is This Day newspaper. Next is the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, now the Nigerian Tribune, and above the nameplate on page 4 it says 17 Ondo students in trouble over viral WAEC sign-out celebration videos. And I wonder what that is all about. If you're curious as me, you have to flip over to page 4 to find out. And on page 4 again it says Oyo raises 2026 budget to 1.1 trillion naira with 250 billion naira supplementary appropriation. And on page 28 it says terrorism, court in Sokoto sentences 2 Nigerians, 1 foreigner to death. Okay. And the Star Story says State Police, Senate passes bill empowers governors to appoint CPs. And the rider reads, bill to await reps action, NAS to prepare clean bill for transmission to states. 24 states assemblies must endorse bill to become law. Drama as senators initially blocked governors from Senate floor rescinded. And there's decision after Pabio Senate leaders' intervention. And on page 3 on the Nigerian Tribune, it says LPPC suspends Mike Ozokome from SAN rank. And that's something big. What's that all about?
Well, the LPPC would suspend or discipline you unless, of course, you've crossed the line. So I think the question is, what exactly is the line that's crossed?
Exactly.
Now, I know it has had an issue in the UK, for instance, and that again is having a backlash at home,
yes,
on the streets, and even at the level of institution. So I think we'll have to read details and be able to know precisely what's going on now.
And on page 4, it says APC accord Sean Police INEC peace meeting in Oshun. And the writer says CP Rec warns against violence ahead August poll. And still on the Nigerian Tribune, the health column, and it says smartphone AI app detects eye cancers from photos. And that's from research. And here, some very disturbing news here. It says NDLEA uncovers another industrial scale meth lab in Oyo Forest. It's on page 24, and the writer says arrests Mexican, 4 others recover multi-billion naira worth of illicit substances. And those are all the major issues on the Nigerian Tribune. And if you, like I mentioned before, if you're as curious as myself to get abreast with these informations, you have to go get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues making rounds. Next, we have The Guardian.
Top right of The Guardian, a picture here of Bayo Onanuga, the special advisor to President Tinubu on media and publicity, says presidency detached from reality, says opposition, after Onanuga's no hunger remarks. Of course, he said that on live television just 2 days ago, or prime time for that matter, but Nigerians are watching. But in the meantime, you can look at page 3 for details. Nigeria targets 277 gigawatts power by 2060. Presidency denies Tinubu's "don't vote for me" comment on page 3. Federal government backs U.S. sanctions on Nigerians. BDCs linked to terror financing. Federal government backs U.S. sanctions on Nigerians. BDCs linked to terror financing. From NPF to state forces, Senate clears path for state police, retains federal oversight, guardrails. The structure is well laid out on the front page of The Guardian, as always, this morning, so you can have deeper insights into what's unfolding right in front of us. Osun 2026, police meet military, INEC, political parties over rising violence. Elections there, we understand, is going to be in the middle of August, so we've got to take all the necessary steps in advance. El-Rufai, a range of fresh charges, bail ruling fixed for July 1. On page 2 is where you have those details, so it's back to court on Wednesday. Credits to manufacturers down by 23% to 6.6 trillion naira as capacity utilization drops. Xenophobia, federal government evacuates another batch of Nigerians from South Africa, with a picture of the Managing Director and Chief Executive of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NITCOM, Mrs. Abike Dabiri-Erewa. On page 4 is where you have those details. Let students return to schools, or your government urges NUT, but apparently the teachers in Oyo State are not paying attention to what the governor or the government is saying for obvious reasons. Insecurity is on the rise in Oyo, and the pupils and teachers abducted have so far not been released. Right? But look at details on page 5 as we now leave you here on The Guardian, so you can read up details for yourself. Next will be The Nation newspaper.
All right, now The Nation newspaper, not much headlines on The Nation, but above the nameplate it says EFCC to arraign U.S. blacklisted terrorism financing suspects, and that's on page 4. And on page 3 it says LPPC bars Ozocheme from using SAN title. And on page 7 it says El-Rufai faces fresh 11-count charges with 5 others. And the star story on The Nation says Senate passes state police bill. House of Assembly to approve Sanwo-Olu's Tinubu. Wait a minute. I'll take that again. Sanwo-Olu hails Tinubu lawmakers. And basically those are all the major headlines on The Nation. And go out to get yourself a copy and be well informed of the issues making rounds. Next we have the Daily Sun.
And that begins on the other side, the top right corner, which is adjacent to the nameplate, says defamation. Kwankwaso threatens 10 billion naira suit against Primate Ayodele over claims he was paid to be Obi's running mate. On page 19, quite technical, that story broke yesterday. And NEMA, World Bank moved to review Nigeria's disaster management blueprints. Senate clears way for state police, passes bill, retains emergency power with president, stays to appoint police commissioners, governors witness proceeding after initial resistance. Government backs to criminals. You can run, but you can't hide. Terrorism, court sentences 3 to death. Pages 27 and 29 have those details for you. KB raises the alarm over emergence of new terror group, Say Malam. That's the name of the new terror group. 1 minute, it's Lakurawa. The next is Say Malam. But KB State is one of the several states in this country that have been badly impacted by insecurity. All right, you can read up those details on page 4. NDLEA destroys industrial meth lab in Oyo Forest, arrests Mexican exports for Nigerians. Jumai did highlight that headline from a previous paper for us. We'll see who gets INEC access code, Wiki turns. So INEC now has an access code and Jumai has never told me about it. Well, maybe she has not had a conversation with those who know. But that's what Wiki is reportedly saying here with the rider. As Turaki-led PDP unveils 28 Guba, 469 NAS, 993 state assembly candidates for 2027 polls. And that's on page 26 of the Daily Sun. All right, read up details as you move on today. Next is the Daily Times newspaper.
All right, now the Daily Times newspaper. And above the nameplate, it says, EFCC to arraign Bello Bodejo over alleged $2.53 million terrorism financing. Okay, and on the business segment, it says CBN mops up 11 trillion naira as investors rush 4.7 trillion naira into high-yield OMO bills. And the star story on the Daily Times, it says new terror group say Malam emerges in Kebbi, government notifies IGP. And below that, it says here, Senate passes bill to alter constitution in favor of state police. And that really is on page 2. And here it says, court jails man 20 years for raping 85-year-old woman. That's a very sad read.
Absurd.
Absurd, really. Someone old enough to be your mother, your grandmom, or great-grandmom. Just unfortunate. And go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast of the major issues making rounds on the Daily Times. Next, we have Business Day.
All right, so let's go do some business now. It says Nigerian banks grow bigger, but credit shrinks, right? That's quite contradictory, but it is what it is now. Banks growing bigger, but credit shrinking. Governors get powers to appoint commissioners under state police bill. FG retains oversight. 5 reasons Securities and Exchange Commission halted Dangote IPO promotion. For those of you who are curious or you wanted to jump in on the offer, you can read up on page 31 of Business Day today. All right, state police bill passage raises fresh questions over funding oversight orders on page 30. Fresh blackouts hits Nigeria's commercial capital as supply dries up on page 31. Those are all the headlines for you this morning on the Business Day newspaper. All right, what more do we have? It turns out that will be all of the paper this morning for you. So we're done with the headlines. Please be sure that you read up details for yourself. And remember, as always, that Global Television as a broadcast media entity or the team here on Global Morning does not in any way contribute to these headlines. We bring them to you exactly as published by their respective publishers. We'll take a quick break, and then next will be our discussion and the rest of the program. To stay with us.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
At Aerogym Shoe Factory, excellence starts from the ground up. Located at number 1 Pound Road behind Nigeria Correctional Service, Aba, Abia State. We produce 1,500 high-quality shoes every single day. Paramilitary shoes, safety boots, desert boots, ankle shoes, back-to-school footwear. All crafted with state-of-the-art equipment and built for strength, comfort, and durability. For reliable footwear that stands the test of time, choose Aerogym Shoes for better product, strong steps, smart style. For inquiries, call 091-264-53399 or 070-3009-3944 or 080-6573-8374 or call 081-3167-3668. Email info@aerogym.com. Website www.aerogymdesign.com. Aerogym. Walk with confidence. Walk with pride.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust a multi-platform news broadcast, real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast. Wednesday was generally calm across most parts of the country, especially during the morning hours. Now, with significant weather systems developing, we expect conditions to be a bit more active as we step into Thursday. Residents in parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, the Federal Capital Territory, Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue are expected to prepare for possibilities of morning thunderstorms. Further south, rains are likely to parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, and Abia states. As we go into the afternoon and evening period, the southeast and south-south region have higher chances of rains, while the southwest will likely see cloudy conditions, as conditions are expected to be generally stable in this region. To the north-central and northern region, conditions continue to favor thunderstorm development in most parts of the region. And wherever you're watching from, stay weather aware. I am Theodora Itzum. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for staying with us. Just yesterday, Wednesday, the 24th of June, the Nigerian Senate passed the bill that had been sent to it by the presidency. Of course, we dare to say by the president himself, praying the Nigerian Senate to quickly vote on it to decide whether or not we want to move forward with this idea, because that's what it has been the whole time, of having a state police in our country. But today, that has happened. The bill has been passed at the National Assembly level. We understand it has now moved to the respective states' houses of assembly. And then, of course, by the time we're done with all of this and it all goes through, it simply means that we're now going to have a decentralized police system, not the unitary kind of arrangement that we've had the whole time. But there have also been questions as to what this would mean in terms of funding, in terms of structural leadership, and then issues around drawing a distinction when necessary between the federal police and the state police. But as it stands right now, many people do agree, and that is the consensus, that we are moving in the right direction. It means that, Juma, for example, in our state, we also now have a state police system as against just having only the Nigeria Police Force. Juma, congratulations to you. Congratulations to you too. I think this will serve, and this will go a long way when it has to curbing this issue of insecurity. It might not take it out completely, but at least it's a stepping stone in order to have that free connection with individuals within that community that can give adequate information, and of course you can be there to investigate, and the chain of command is not as far as it ought to be. You can actually, it's not too
far wide, at least it's something that you can actually curb within that particular community. It's a step in the right direction for me, and I think this is the stepping stone in trying to curb this menace of insecurity in our various states. This will work.
I totally agree, because when you look at how fast things have moved in the last few weeks, you realize that there's a bit of more, if you like, intentionality behind it, as again, just politicking and having the same old rhetorics around the issue of state police.
Very true.
We know a few days ago, governors also did ask, and rightly so, what do we do regarding the funding? How do we, as it were, go about the funding? Because you're not just going to set up a police and expect that things will run smooth and on autopilot if you don't have clarity as to where the funding will come from, how the funding will be operationalized, and then of course what the role of the federal government will be and the states will be in these regards. What is the convergence, or if you like, collaboration between the federal police and the state police, and several other issues. But I also believe that, yes, while it is very appropriate to ask those questions so that you can address them early enough, we must realize that nothing is perfect from the beginning.
No.
If some organizations, if some communities or some countries had waited for things to be perfect, they probably wouldn't have been able to achieve whatever it is they have attained or heights they've attained today. So we believe that we can get started and continue to work with sincerity of purpose, with love for country, as we continue to tweak this whole system. After all, even the Constitution we rely on to run our lives, so to say, as a country, it's not perfect. Till tomorrow we'll still say it is the 1999 Constitution is amended. So this is a welcome development, like you said. And we do hope that some of those fears that people have expressed the whole time, oh, well, governors are going to abuse it, governors are going to exploit it, oversight is going to be a challenge, people are going to just run roughshod over it, and it's going to create a conflict with the existing police structure as we have it and things like that. We do hope that those fears will be allayed in ways that are very practical. And then, of course, we can now see very clearly that the issue of insecurity has been largely dealt with on account of this, because that's what it is. The idea of saying, let's come up with a state policing system is so that we can deal with insecurity from the very grassroots, from the very base of it, as against having to treat it from top to bottom. So if we fail, and I hope we do not, I sincerely hope we do not fail at ensuring that we are able to fight insecurity to a standstill, it means that we would have wasted all the time, would have wasted all the money, would have wasted all the energy, would have wasted all the expectation.
Yes, exactly. And I like the fact that we should have it all spelled out clearly. What is the chain of command? And it's very important we know that. We know our terms of reference when it comes to the issue of state policing. So there won't be any underlining issue at hand when it comes to this. So it doesn't turn out like the local government issue that we're having with, of course, you know, a lot of individuals have said that when it comes to let it not end up like that. We pray it doesn't. And like you mentioned before, at the beginning, there's always this tussle of trying to get it right, creating that balance, trying to get it right, knowing who your next chain of command is supposed to come from, where it's supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, your role, so it doesn't get all juggled up and all of that. But at the same time, it has been passed into law, meaning, of course, it's recognized. But at the same time, for as much as we're going to have that rough at the beginning, people shouldn't expect it to come so quickly, the change. It's going to take time, but it shouldn't take too long. But at the same time, let us get everything spelled out clearly so everyone knows their TOR, their terms of reference, where the bulk starts, where it ends, who to report to. It's very important that we get that straightened out. And it's very important that governors do not abuse this. It's not for governors alone. It's for the betterment of individuals in that community in order to try as much as possible to nip this issue of insecurity in the bud. That is the main purpose of the state police, and that is why it's been passed into law. Very important that we understand that. It's not for the governors to use them as escorts, to carry their bags, or to watch over their houses. That is even if they stay in their various communities. They all run to Abuja. But at the same time, we should understand that we should give them the maximum support that they need, because for the betterment of Nigeria and Nigerians, we need to curb this menace as soon as possible. I'm glad it's everywhere in the States now. So it means that, well, safety is gradually creeping back into our country, by God's grace.
And Juma, we need to be very square up, upfront about this. The idea of where will the money come from, how do we fund the police?
Oh, yes.
We must also realize that lives are lost almost on a daily basis in this country.
Very true.
No thanks to insecurity. Let's not even go into the economics of it. The amount of money we lose every day, practically every day on account of insecurity. Look at agrarian societies, communities in our country where people can't go to farm anymore because they are not sure if they will
come back alive
to tell the story. Things like that. So we must now ask ourselves, are we going to count the costs of doing it versus the cost of not doing it? We are very obsessed and fixated on the cost of doing it. Nobody thinks about the cost of not doing it. There's a cost of not doing it. It's like a child saying, I won't go to school because it's too expensive, education is too expensive. It seems to make sense on the surface. But if you lift that layer, all right, you're asking yourself, what's the cost of not going to school? You may not see the impact today.
No.
It can take another 20, 30 years, even 40, before it starts to rub off. And by that time, you still may have the window of opportunity to go to school. But the question is, would it still be the same if you had gone to school much earlier? So it's the same thing I think of insecurity in terms of the concern around. Of course, the concern is legitimate. It is valid, no doubt about that. But we must now be able to stretch ourselves. Those who are killing our people, those who are maiming our people, those who are attacking our communities are not sparing costs. They are going all the way. Look at all the allegations now, as hefty as they are, about people who are putting millions of dollars into funding terrorism on our soil. They are not counting the cost per se. They are going beyond their comforts to put in all of these valuable, humongous resources. So why should a government as big as Nigeria be more concerned, distracted, I'd like to say, because that's what it is. It's a distraction, all right, by how do we fund it and so on and so forth. But again, that's why it's called community policing. It's not just about the state governor or the state government. It's not for the state governors.
No, it's not.
It's for the people at the grassroots. It's for the purpose of expanding the reach of the police. Because as it stands today, look at the National Police or the Nigerian Police Force, as we know it. What is the ratio of a policeman to citizens? If we were to say, okay, for the purpose of this conversation, we have 225 million Nigerians in this country today, and we want to share the available policemen amongst them. Juma will not get a policeman, not because I said so, but she knows she will not get a policeman. Because apparently, as we say in PG, you know, go reach a hand.
No,
and nobody's going to have a police to themselves.
No.
So that shows you the gulf that does exist between the manpower of the Nigeria Police Force and the number of people who live in our country. So to that extent, this is a welcome idea, and we do hope at the level of the state assemblies it will move fast as well, so that we can wrap these things up as quickly as possible. And finally, we also do hope that politicians do not do their normal game of trying to turn it into an element of politics and politicking.
Very importantly, and I was going to hammer on that, talking about the politicians concerning this state policing. Please, we should understand that this is for the betterment of Nigeria and Nigerians. We've had enough when it comes to... I have had enough. I don't know about others, but I'm sure people are in the same right as mine at this point. We've had enough when it comes to banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, abduction, what it has done to families, what it has done to lives, what it has done to individuals. Ask individuals in IDP. Their lives have not remained the same. I'm sure this is a step in the right direction, that at least they have state policing. When they go back to their farmland, they can actually go back to farm, start their means of livelihood without fear of not coming back. So this is a major milestone when it comes to trying to curb this menace of insecurity. And like what some of our guests have said here on the program, we have all it takes. We've not just put our head in there, or we've not come to the round table to talk about it and try as much as possible to sort this issue out. I am glad that we've started, and come on, if we're talking about funding, what happened to our taxpayers' money? Come on, it's part of it. These are all in connect, for as much as it's community-based.
Yes, in fact, that's the starting point.
And that's the starting point. So what are we talking about? Taxpayers' money. A lot of individuals are paying their tax, and directly or indirectly, tax are being taken from what you buy in the market, whether you know it or not. Tax.
At least there's a standard VAT.
There's a standard, value-added tax. So what are we talking about? So funding has nothing to do with it. We have to curb this menace now, and we have started this, and I hope that we put it into practice. Like we said, it's not something that we just go away with a snap of a finger, no. But at the same time, with this in line, it's part of it, and it's in line with trying as much as possible to nip this issue in the bud. Hopefully it comes into play. Hopefully it is utilized properly. Hopefully terms of reference are being spelled out for everyone to know, and hopefully it is not used in sole purpose of politics. That would be a very serious problem, and really we do not need that. We just want to be able to go to sleep with our 2 eyes closed.
Of course, that's what everybody wants, go to sleep with 2 eyes closed. You know, I'm particularly through Jumai with the interest that people are now taking in Nigeria's security situation. Yes, even Nigerians in the diaspora, because they realize that they may not be practically here with us on the ground, but whatever happens to the country on account of insecurity does affect them one way or another.
They have families here.
They have families, some of them have businesses.
Exactly.
And beyond all of those considerations, which are very vital, they are at some point most likely going to retire back home. So the question is, once that return happens, what kind of country are they coming back into? It matters. Plus, there's this innate thing that ties you to where you come from. I'm sure that's why they say we can't forget where we come from.
No,
right?
we cannot.
You may be doing well. You may have found accomplishment where you are right now, whether in Europe or America, somewhere in Asia. But in the final analysis, you know where your home is, all right? Selena Gomez says the heart wants what it wants. Your heart is going to yearn for home someday. And when that happens in the next 30, 40, 50 years, for example, what kind of home are you going to need? It's very important. Some persons left this country as far back as in the 80s or in the 90s. So for 3-4 decades, they've not been back to Africa. And when they left, things were much better, for example, all right? They had, I mean, insecurity was not a concern.
Exactly.
These people could drive from Lagos to Sokoto.
At night.
And of course, they took their time. They were in a hurry.
They were not in a hurry.
They traveled with families, with babies, all right?
Oui.
So at the end of the day, they expect to meet that same country or even far better than they left it. So they now realize that, look, we may not be comfortable with leadership in our country, but it is our country all the same.
It is our country. And you said something about people, they could travel from this point to this point without being afraid. Do you know, when I was in Kaduna, we could leave as late as 7 p.m. and drive all the way from Kaduna to Abuja, and the road, fantastic. It was clear. There was no issue of insecurity. There was no issue of abduction, banditry, and all of that. But now it's not the same. And the heart knows what it wants. No matter, even if you have stayed out of the country, your heart must definitely yield or yearn of being home. So it's very important that security is everyone's business. And like we said, you know, when we were talking in the office, someone said, back in the day, we always say, oh, it's the North's problem. This issue of insecurity, it's the North, it's their problem. Let them face it, they'll be able to handle it. But now it has spread. It's a different ballgame. It has spread all around all states. And it's just unfortunate that we all have to understand that this concerns you and I. It's not one person's problem. It's not one region's problem. It's not one state's problem. It concerns you and I. And that is why we all have to be proactive and give the necessary support to the right channel in order to nip in this particular issue in the bud, which is insecurity. And that is why I said, let's put all our weight together in supporting the state policing and ensuring that it's not about knowing your terms of reference or your TOR at that point, but understanding what you are mandatory to do as a police officer in that particular community, understanding your rights, the authority in which you carry, the weight in which you carry. So someone else who is high up that doesn't come and say, okay, drop your rifle and follow me to my house, knowing that, no, I'm not for that, sir. I am here to protect this is my terrain, the community. So they understand that. It's very important. So I think all that should be put in checkmate and to be put in place in order for us to actually remove this monster from our dear country, Nigeria.
I totally agree with you, Jumai. Life first, and government holds, the key, so to speak, to ensuring that all of these happen as quickly as possible, especially now that there's a bit of a distraction by the side, which is the 2027 general election.
It is.
But we can see that government is now realizing more than ever before that we must keep the main thing. And as of today in Nigeria, the main thing is fighting insecurity. Let's take a quick break now. When we return, there's so much more to talk about, including politics. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us, everyone. Beyond insecurity now, we're realizing that no political party in Nigeria today, especially the major ones, whatever that means, all right, it's having a rosy experience within their midst. Whether you're talking about the ruling of Progressive Congress, the PDP, the Labour Party, or even the NDC, there's so much of wrangling and bickering going on right now, all again about 2027 general election. In the case of the APC, for example, we're hearing that there are people who still feel, members of the party, who still feel aggrieved following the primaries that the party conducted a while ago. There are those you can't even invite to come talk on television now because they want to be double sure what happens going forward before they know whether or not to appear on television and on what side of things they need to stand on. But again, that's politics. They want to be double sure what the optics are and what their future is going forward. There are those who can clench tickets as expected. You know, when you brag to your friends that you're going to House of Assembly in your state, and because you've been a member of the party for long, you think you've worked for the party,
exactly.
You worked for the president as seriously in 2023, there's no reason on God's earth you're not getting that ticket. And one thing leads to another. Leadership of the party at the state level says, look, we do not take for granted all you've done for this party. In fact, your sacrifices,
we appreciate.
Will never go unrewarded. But you see, there's a situation, right? We have this gentleman who has also been with the party long, and he has been promised this ticket on 2 occasions, and it never came through.
Okay.
If you also look at his background, he's more of a grassroots-oriented person. I'm not going to be the one to tell you how much he has done for our political party in terms of funding. At the point this party was broke to a kobo, he came through for us on a number of occasions. And for such a man, naturally and on moral grounds, the least we can do for him is to say, let's compensate him with this ticket. It's a starting point for him. And just so you know, he's eminently eligible to go to the Senate or even the House of Reps, but we're just trying to say, half bread is better than none. Let's start him out at the House of Assembly. So please, what we can do for you now is to say, a lot is in the offing. There's a lot.
Have you done this before?
I'm just trying to be a bit sporadic and spontaneous. But I'm saying that there are people who have seen this scenario. In fact, I know people who even boycotted some of the party's activities out of protests of saying, look, you people, you've grieved me, so I'm not going to identify with you.
I'm not.
You call someone before they say, look, and so at some point, you're doubting whether they're still members of the party. Say, yes, I'm a member of the party, of course, but
I have my own reservations.
Right. So you have all of those going on in the APC. If you go to the Labour Party, of course, you have the Abure faction, you have the Nana Usman-led faction. Of course, the Nana Usman-led faction is the legal leadership of the Labour Party.
Yes, it is.
You go to the NDC. The NDC, yes, it appears to be the bride now, the darling amongst the political parties on the opposition side of things. But again, this idea of saying, let's sign some understanding or some commitments to say that once Juma gets her ticket to go to Senate, and then she wins, she can't defect and tell us, no, I know NDC did me well, they gave me a platform, but you see, I think Party ZYG, even though we don't have that party, is now my favorite because I realize that
they have what it takes. So
the NDC is saying you might do that everywhere else, including the Labour Party, like a certain Eric will say on Facebook, we don't do that here. You can't do that here, all right? That's what he's saying. And it looks like the PDP is now also borrowing that model to say you must sign an anti-defection form once you are a candidate of our party. But can we not be sincere, Juma, with ourselves for a minute? Did you not see how nasty it got in terms of how people were just defecting in a manner that is, at best, can be described as irresponsible?
Very irresponsible.
We're not saying people must die in a particular party because they gave you ticket, because they gave you platform or a special purpose vehicle of some kind. They were saying that the manner in which you're living, and in any case, the reason for which you are living, they are very vital. They're very important.
Very important.
Because whether you like it or not, we can argue all day and say, look, there's no morality in politics. But the question is, do we not also have a sense of responsibility in terms of saying that, look, yes, we may have issues in this party, and the Constitution makes it very evident that if there is irreconcilable conflict in your party, it can be grounds for you to leave. But the question is, how do we now define when conflict within the party cannot be resolved? It's very important because, you see, when people have decided what they want to do, all they are looking for at that point in time is just the slightest of excuse to leave. And if there's any party that has suffered that fate in this country, no other party has suffered it more than them. It is the Labour Party.
Yes.
Right? So, what would have been thought is the Labour Party that would have moved this kind of initiative, right? But then it appears that the NDC has been learning from a distance the whole time.
Exactly.
I know my people say the same when you're offering a piece of advice to a child who has parents. The child who doesn't listens more because he knows that when push comes to shove, this guy who is being spoken to has parents. So he has something to fall back
Very
to.
true.
So he doesn't have. So he listens twice harder and then he applies that piece of advice way better. So I think that's what the NDC is doing, drawing from the experience of the Labour Party.
Yes, and to say quite the most, I think this is a step in the right direction. I think they have learned, they have seen how bloody it could get, how bad it got to a point whereby you had followers in that particular group and you were actually popular at a point, but once these individuals that people have that love for leave, there is a decline.
Right.
So I think people are becoming wiser now. Politicians are becoming wiser. They're coming into the know of knowing that there are some things that needs to be set out, some lay down rules that should be set out. If you're for us, be for us. It's not when the going gets. They say when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So if you're going to make a difference, whether good or bad, stay. And if you get an appointment on this platform, you have to stay.
Right.
So it's very important because, like you said, there are other people who were there before you who wanted this particular position, but because of your popularity, in order to bring out that, will I say, that shining star of the political party, you came on board. Yes, appreciated, but at the same time, you must be there to make a difference. You must be there to win. You must be there, even when you fail, still be there. So I think it's very important, and I like the fact that it's all spelled out. No, there's no need for pretense,
No.
and there is no need for us to dilly-dally on this matter.
Let's be very clear.
Let's be very clear what we're doing. Let's be very clear. And there's some things that you just don't do here. You would have done it in other parties, and especially when you know that the individuals who are coming into your party, they have that history of living at the slightest opportunity, at the slightest breakthrough somewhere, they leave to that. It's very important. I think they are very smart. It cracks me up all the time. I'm trying to hold myself not to laugh so much, but at the same time, I think it's a step in the right direction to show that we know what we are doing. We are not here to be cajoled. We're not here for you to manipulate. We are here because we want to make a difference, and we have learned from other people's experience. So don't come and play that fast one on us here. So it's very important. You will stay if you get this particular appointment under this particular party. You have no choice than to stay.
Of course, that's what it is. Because whether you like it or not, no matter how much you try to politic, yes, we know politicians and political parties want to win election. That's the ultimate goal for them, right? Of course. But we must also have a system where you know that at least there's a measure of discipline in political parties.
Exactly.
You know, the concern with the Joma is that whatever political parties cannot instill in their members, whether you call it discipline,
at the beginning,
yes, or standards, they cannot replicate it.
No, you cannot.
When they come into public office. Because the fact of the matter is, if you have political parties that are in disarray, that can resolve basic conflicts, and then you're asking yourself, what happens when the country is dealing with intertribal conflicts, interreligious conflicts? How do you now resolve? Because I think the best place to show capacity, first of all, is within your party, not even when you become governor or a legislator. It is first within your party. And that's why you realize that there are people, I mean, there's a school of thought that believes that a gentleman like Mr. Peter Obi should have been able to float his own party long before
Very
now.
important.
Others say, well, even if you couldn't have floated your party because there's no rule that says everybody must float the party, you could have at least been able to put in the work long enough to resolve the conflict in the Labour Party rather than jumping ship and joining the ADC. But there's also the counter school of thought, as I'd like to call it, that things that, look, we've not heard both sides of the story. We're only hearing from the other side. Nobody has heard from Peter Obi what he could have or may have already done over time to resolve the conflict, and his efforts didn't pay off. And at a point, it was a dead-end reality for him. And as such, the only option left open for him was to seek an alternative in the ADC, which was a flash in the pan, like we came to find. And now today, the man is in the NDC. So we're saying all of this to say that we need to rethink how we lead or how we run our political parties. And that's why you see that most times the leading party or the ruling party does not take the opposition seriously.
No.
Because it feels you can't even get it together.
There's no structure.
Right, so how do you want to now unseat us?
Exactly.
Right, so you must be able to show strength, not strength in the plenty talk. There's strength in the kind of choices you make at the leadership level, the tough decisions that you take, and then how you're able to get it together even in the eye of the storm. I think those are the things that matter. And we must now also ask ourselves, if we say this democracy that we are still experimenting with after 27 years came from the US, how do they run their parties as well? We can't take away the peculiar elements. We can't be Americans, so let's not even have that conversation.
No, we cannot.
But in terms of how they run those parties, because you can't extricate American democracy from the political parties themselves. Whether you're talking about the Democratic Party, you're talking about the Republican Party, or the other parties that are not so prominent for people to see or know about, those political parties are integral parts of the democratic culture in the United States. 250 years overnight? It's not. But the question is, what are we doing already today after 27 years that we can look back to in 150 years, in 200 years, in 300 years and say, look, it's because we laid this foundation more than a century ago that we're able to get to where we are today. I mean, look at Americans still talk about Abraham Lincoln till tomorrow. All right, they still talk about all of those presidents that came before them, the impacts they make in what sectors and what areas, the speeches they gave, their foreign policy direction, their homegrown policies, economic direction, the unique leadership style. So what that means is that we must now think beyond the election cycle, because that's one of the problems we're having in Nigeria and indeed in Africa. We must think beyond election cycles in such a way that politicians don't only put on their thinking cap just because the new election is a year away, election is 2 years away. We must now think about what exactly are we doing in such a way that even when we leave office, even if our political party is not necessarily ruling or leading, we still have something we can look at and say, yes, this is quintessential democracy.
Yeah, it's very important to you, and that's well said. You know, there's sometimes when we have to look back and understand that what are we doing that is not realigning with our democracy, and learning from others is a big deal. I think we've not gotten to that point yet. We're not involved yet when it comes to democracy. Do we really understand what it is? Do we understand roles that we're supposed to play? Do we really understand our rights? I think it's a lot. It's not all about copying from international waters, but there was a study though when the baton was given to the next, was there a study? Did you learn anything? Did you learn anything to give back? I think it's very important. That is why we've not gotten it right yet. I think it takes a lot. Maybe we've got it right to some point, but I think we have a lot to do in trying to balance that and to make a difference. And I think it will go a long way if we learn from our mistakes and go to the drawing board and see how to make it better and implement the right structures forward. I think it will go a long way.
It will. It really will. Well, let's also now also hope that we continue to strengthen institutions such as INEC, for example, and the ancillary agencies and organs of government that do need to work with INEC during and after elections, because again, institutions are very vital to a democracy. The reason an American can trust their system more than we can trust ours here, again, is because of institutions, all right? If we are able to wake up one morning and largely telling ourselves that, look, whatever result INEC announces is credible, can be trusted, Juma does not have to go to bank, go to court, so he does not have to take the legal routes just because he lost to Juma, then it means that we're already getting it right. Because as of today, look at the 2023 election, for example. It was a preponderance of matters in courts on account of how people accessed the INEC and the outcome of the polls. So are we going to have the same scenario playing out in 2027? Hopefully we do not. But in all of this, we not only need to invest in INEC, we also now need to have a leadership that is truly independent, because that's where the challenge has been, Jumai. They say the commission has not lived up to its name. Yes, it is Independent National Electoral Commission, but the big question is, has it been independent in the truest sense of that word?
Has it been independent in the cause of doing the right thing for the people? I think that's a big question mark. But at the same time, INEC always comes out in times of election to tell us how they will prove their worth when it comes to credibility, transparency, accountability, and we see all of that. But at the same time, let's see what this brings. I think we shouldn't hold on to the past where you know how it was, they're not credible, it's always rigged, all of those, there's no flexibility and all of that. But let's see what this will bring. I think we've spoken a lot about the INEC chairman, but let us see what 2027 will bring. Let us see whether we'll see transparency, accountability, credibility, which is very important. But at the same time, let's see whether they will live up to their name as independent National Electoral Commission. Very, when I heard that I laughed. But at the same time, let's see what it brings. Basically, let's see whether they will, let it just be a mere rumor for Nigerians, not saying that they cannot deliver, because a lot of Nigerians are in question mark, especially question mark concerning the INEC chairman. A lot of allegations, speculations surrounding his particular position as the INEC chairman. But at the same time, 2027, it's not far anymore. The election is very close. But let's see what it brings. Let's see whether truly there will be fairness, there will be credibility, transparency, and accountability at the same time.
Right. You see, all of this, whether we like it or not, the world is watching, right? And
yes, they are.
We are building one brick at a time. And one of the things we must be concerned about is how are we building? What kind of foundation are we building on? Because, you see, this may sound a little dramatic, but it is the reality. At some point, I don't know how soon, I don't know how far away from here, all of us talking about Nigeria today, talking about democracy, talking about the Tinubu administration, the administration before him, we won't be here. Right? I'm sorry. I didn't. But here's the thing. Of course, we won't be here.
Okay.
The people who fought for independence, how many of them are alive today? Do you understand? What now matters beyond their time here on earth as Nigerians is what they did with the time that they were given. We're saying to say that are hosting Global Morning today. We have a chairman for INEC, we have a president, we have a political class. At some point, all of us, again, I say, won't be here. At some point, we won't be here, if you mind. Question is, what happens to democracy? I say that to say that we must think around the impact, not the quick fix. Get now from my peak of what exactly are we leaving behind when we do leave the same. Let me give you an example. President Tinubu has been able to do unique something about autonomy for local governments. It is historic in Nigeria, whether you like it or not, right? And then, of course, we are seeing the state police bill now that just got passed less than 4 hours ago. People do not appreciate those things today. I mean, this is not kind of the whole brief for the president or for those around him. We're saying that it is what it is. You see, at some point in time, Nigerians will also look back and say, look, it was this particular president that did X, Y, Z. I'll give you an example. President Jonathan, or former President Jonathan, he left office just about 11 years ago. But at that point, just before he left office, there were many things about him that he had done right by people, by the country, that were not appreciated. But today people are saying, look, we missed this about Jonathan, we missed this. But when the man did it, some persons even spited him for it. Ironically, of course, we can say that's human factor. We're saying that to say that we must think in terms of legacy. It's one of the biggest problems in Africa. We don't think in terms of legacy. And that's why for many centuries, Africa could not build lasting businesses. We could not build businesses that transcend generations until very recently, right? So we're saying, let's think beyond ourselves, think beyond the next governor even. It's not just about who becomes governor in this state in 2031 or what will this current governor leave behind?
For the future generation.
Exactly. What would that mean for Juma and Uyi's children who are citizens of the states in the next 40, 50 years? That's how we should think. But I think, again, asking for too much.
Yeah, no, you're not asking for too much. It only makes sense, really, Uyi. And that's the truth. And I think that, like we said, we're not holding brief for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But a lot has been done that has not been said, that people are unaware of. Or they are aware, but they feel, what is this? Is this what we're looking for? Now, we're looking for now how we're going to fill our tummies, how fuel price can come to a downslope, how there should be employment opportunities for our children who are graduating, how transportation can be of fair price, how inflation can come. You see, that is what we all think about now. No one talks about future generations to come and what we are going to leave behind for them to actually sit back and say, okay, fine, this particular generation, or at this time in 2026, these particular policies were out, and now that is why it's making a greater impact now for us. So it's a lot to take in. And you're right, Uyi, most of us don't really think past that. We only think about the now. We don't think about the future generations to come. I think that is food for thought. But like there's a saying that goes, we don't worry about tomorrow, right?
We'll take care of itself.
We'll take care of itself. So
we're not supposed to plan for tomorrow. Yes, we will not be anxious about tomorrow, but we need to be strong, steady, and clear about tomorrow. All right, we can't just be hazy about the whole thing. So we wake up the next day and then we act like, what are we supposed to do today? No, we've got to have, somebody said the reason insurance penetration in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, is slow, is that people have very strong-rooted, deeply seated sort of traditional beliefs. They feel that they should buy insurance, for example, let's say buy an insurance policy for a piece of real estate, perhaps a residential building. It means they're already on their own inviting calamity to themselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then you tell people, well, you can buy life insurance, okay, in case anything happens to you, death, for instance, to say, it's not my portion, blah, blah, blah.
Of course.
All right. So those are the reasons. Yeah, they might go caught, but it's all right.
No, believe yourself.
The thing is, we must expand our thinking, right? We can still be Africans while we are broadening our horizons.
Very true.
And we must see that rub off on the way we lead, the way we develop, the way we grow in different spheres of influence.
Very true, and I like what you said. You said for all those other gibberish you said. The one I picked is when you said we can still be Africans as we broaden our horizon. It's very important we understand that as African, I am a very proud African.
You can't be anyone else.
No, I cannot. I'm a very proud African. I say it anywhere I am. I'm a very proud African. We understand that we have morals, we have values, we have traditions, and they must be embedded in whatever we do. And that is what actually makes us as Africans, our traditions, our morals, our values, what we bring in. For as much as we want to broaden our horizon, for as much as we want to be modernized, for as much as we want to follow the way of what let me just use the white orientation that makes, we should understand that we have values and we have morals. It's very important. We should never throw that away. We are representative of who we are, and it must stand out at every given time. Very important. And a balance of both mixed. It's not bad at all when you look at it critically. Once you are in that particular position, but you understand that values is important, checkmate, morals, your traditions and what you bring, checkmate. A balance of both is not bad at all, basically.
I totally agree. A balance of both is not bad. And by way of balance now, we're taking a break and this conversation continues shortly. Do stay with us. Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning.
For the latest issues,
Always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
At Witchtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction. Witchtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Witchtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
At Aerogym Shoe Factory, excellence starts from the ground up. Located at number 1 Pound Road behind Nigeria Correctional Service, Aba, Abia State. We produce 1,500 high-quality shoes every single day. Paramilitary shoes, safety boots, desert boots, ankle shoes, back-to-school footwear. All crafted with state-of-the-art equipment and built for strength, comfort, and durability. For reliable footwear that stands the test of time, choose Aerogym Shoes for better product, strong steps, smart style. For inquiries, call 091-264-53399 or 070-3009-3944 or 080-6573-8374 or call 081-3167-3668. Email info@aerogym.com. Website www.aerogymdesign.com. Aerogym. Walk with confidence. Walk with pride.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast. Wednesday was generally calm across most parts of the country, especially during the morning hours. Now with significant weather systems developing, we expect conditions to be a bit more active as we step into Thursday. Residents in parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, the Federal Capital Territory, Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue are expected to prepare for possibilities of morning thunderstorms. Further south, rains are likely to parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Ebonyi, and Abia states. As we go into the afternoon and evening period, the southeast and south-south region have higher chances of rains, while the southwest will likely see cloudy conditions, as conditions are expected to be generally stable in this region. To the north central and northern region, conditions continue to favor thunderstorm developments in most parts of the region. And wherever you're watching from, stay weather aware. I am Theodora Itzum. Thank you for watching.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
Watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you.
And still talking about issues of elections, politics, and indeed democracy, we often don't talk much about the side of the people, the voting public, the electorate, as they are often referred to. As it stands today, the issue of collection of PVCs is still quite disturbing.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is one thing to say you have democracy, but people cannot participate if they do not have the wherewithal to do so. And first on that line is their PVC. We have a situation where ironically people can come out en masse to register with INEC, but by the time the cards, the PVCs have been processed, coming to pick up can be a challenge, and that makes it very disturbing, the allegation from Ekiti over this last weekend about how that some people were reportedly handed PVCs that didn't belong to them just so they could vote in favor of some political party. Because if you have that much number of PVCs, yes, granted, some persons may have died, unfortunately, some may have left the country. So if you look at those two realities, picking up your PVC won't be the issue, really. But how about people who are still in the country, they still live in those areas, they've not moved? For example, if you registered, say, somewhere in Edo, and then in between when you registered and when the PVC was available, you left Benin, it's understandable that you have not gone back to pick it up. But what if you are still in Benin? The PVC is waiting there in your INEC local government office. All right, why are you not picking it up? Because you see, this thing called, let's be patriotic, patriotism, this is all part of it. Yes, we can agree and disagree. We can say, I don't like Jumai, so I'm not going to vote because of Jumai, because Jumai is in the ballot. Jumai is not the owner of democracy. She is not the owner of the country. All right, she's just as much a Nigerian as you are. You may not vote for Jumai, and you have the right to not vote for her. But does that stop you from having your PVC? Because you see, democracy, part of the beauty of it is the participatory factor.
Very important.
The fact that Jumai can decide to vote for this person this year, next they decide to vote for another person. The fact that Jumai is of age to vote. The fact that nobody is stopping her from voting. The fact that she can go register for a PVC, pick up her PVC, and decide how she wants to vote every election cycle. These are very strong elements that make democracy beautiful. But when you now have a case, a situation, very sadly so, of an INEC chairman even expressing fears that, look, apathy may be a problem for what we are seeing. You can't blame the man. He has seen the area council elections in Abuja, the FCT, and now he has seen Ekiti. In between, he has seen a handful of by-elections here and there.
Yes.
And because of his own background, he's the one who leads the commission. He realizes that if the issues we have observed so far are not tackled and in good time, voter apathy is a sure banker, all right, as they used to say when I was growing up, going forward. So he's saying we have to deal with it, and INEC can't do that alone. The political class must join. The members of the public, civil society, they must all join hands to ensure that people truly participate.
And you know what, when you were talking, it just made me reflect back in the day when I decided to go get my PVC and all of that, the stress in which I went through, capturing, hand, thumb, that whole process was very annoying.
Rigorous.
It was. And I think if we want to get a clear cut when it comes to individuals coming out to vote, full participation, I think it starts from there. I know you might be wondering, what is Jumai talking about? I think the mode in which we go out to obtain our PVC, the world is evolving. We don't need this very long process in getting it. Some people will tell you the reason why I'm not going to vote is because my PVC is somewhere in Enugu and I'm in Lagos or something. Is there any other means in which to make it easier and seamless? And even if the most important document, the PVC, there is an alternative that I can actually use so I can participate. So is there a way? I think INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, has a long way to go in coming to the drawing board. For as much as BVAS is there, for as much as mode of coalition is there, think about modes in which we can, even when our PVC is not with us, there's another mode of identification that can help me vote, and it can be seamless. So that there won't be any voter apathy, because those are most of the excuses many people will actually give when it comes to voting. Someone will tell you, oh my God, my PVC is in Lagos and I'm here in Abuja and I really want to vote, but hey, I don't have it at hand. Is there a way I can identify that you're a true Nigerian when I check my system and say, okay, fine, you're eligible to vote? I think we could work on that. And most people do not understand. That's one hand. On the other hand, most people do not understand that your vote is your power.
Right.
That is where the power lies.
So the value is not just you holding the PVC.
No.
What do you do with it?
What do you do with it? And the value is not just the knowledge that you have. What have you given back? And what have you imputed there for people to see that, okay, you are making a difference as an individual? So it's very important that we understand all of that. our vote is our power. And most individuals are saying to themselves, you see that day of election, and let me tell you, I'm going to stay home. If there's no light to use the washing machine, I'm going to wash that day. I'm going to watch movies that day. I'm going to cook and have a ball that day. I'm going to make sure my house is locked and closed that day. A lot of people have made up their mind, but they need to have a different mindset to understand that your vote counts. If it's 100,999, one will make it 2,000. And that is your vote. And now that people are now aware, people are now showing concern when it comes to who the next general election, who is going to put on that presidential seat. Everyone wants to know. So everyone's eyes is there. So they should be, and I hopefully there's going to be transparency, accountability, credibility, very important. But how can that happen when most individuals who are supposed to make the difference are not going to come out to vote? So it's very important that we understand that, please, for as much as it is, go get your PVC. For as much as it is, your vote counts. Someone said something on Facebook. He says, the period of deception is here again, 2027. And a lot of people had a lot to say when it comes to that particular comment by this individual. And then I just said, for as much as you feel that the period of deception is here again, but your vote is your power. So go out and get your PVC to make that difference, so that there will not be any deception like you think. But that is what it is. A lot of people feel that, promises that will not be made. You get to power and you say that this particular person is going to make a difference, and at the end of the day, you see something worse or something, but at the end of it all, I think we should understand that our vote is our power, and that it makes a lot of difference. It doesn't matter, just do your own bit. You might not be high up there, you might not be there to make decision, call the shots and all of that, but the power that you have as the voice through your PVC will make a difference. It goes a long way.
It does go a long way, no doubt about that, but we must have a very, if you like, enlightened citizenry, right? Because that's very important. We need to be able to know that where our rights stop, that's where someone else's right starts, and where, to whom much rights are given or privileges are given, to that same person there is a responsibility, right? So it's wonderful for us to say, yes, we have the right to demand quality governance. Nobody can negotiate that. Nobody can fight it. However, the question is, when we look at the choices that you make every time there's an election, whether it's local, subnational, as we call them here, or cycle elections, or the general election cycle, what kind of choices do you make? It's very important. So if Juma is saying, my government is not working, my government is not fixing roads, the question is, did Juma vote at the last election that produced this particular government that she's complaining about, right? So we need to be able to tie those ends, right? Because it is one thing for us to say this governor has done nothing about education, he has done nothing about creating jobs in this state, he's not even concerned about the local economy. But the question is, did you vote for him? Did you even vote at all?
Did you even vote your choice that you have in your
Exactly, because there's nobody that says you must vote for this man.
No.
But did you vote at all for someone else, for example? So we need to realize that we have that responsibility, and 2027 presents another opportunity for us to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it is another opportunity for you to make that difference. An opportunity for you to understand that, okay, fine, I didn't vote the other time because I wasn't well enlightened, I wasn't well educated, I didn't know better. But now that I know that my vote is my power, this will go a long way for me to make that mistake, to correct that wrong and make it right now, and coming out to vote and actually showing that awareness to individuals around you that, come on, let us come out and vote to make that difference, to vote our choice candidate so that a difference can be made, our voice can be heard, we can be seen, and a lot of improvement when it comes to the economy of Nigeria. I think we have to understand that as a Nigerian, you have to be patriotic. This is the only country that we have that you can actually move freely. When you travel outside the shores of Nigeria, the privilege that you have here, the freedom in which we have here, you do not have it over outside the shores of Nigeria. And I will tell you that for free. So let's make the best of what we have. Even if you feel, I don't want to, I want to travel out of the country, I don't want to be here. But what happens to your family and friends, your children who will want to be abroad with you and still want to come home for vacations and all of that? They will still come to Nigeria. So the system has to work. So it takes you and I to make that system work. It takes you and I to make a difference. It takes you and I to go out and get our PVC. It takes you and I to cast our vote. It takes you and I to vote the choice of our heart into power to make that difference in which you and I feel that they will come to make at the end of the day. So it's very important that we understand that our vote is our power.
Right. Well, there's no better way to put it. Our vote is our power. But let's turn to other issues for you now. We understand another batch of evacuees from South Africa, Nigerians, of course, are back in the country. That's just an additional, if you like, group of citizens of our country who have been moved from South Africa back to the country. We are hearing that this will happen all the way till the 30th of this month, which is next week, Tuesday. And the Nigerian government, through the Foreign Affairs Ministry, led by Bianca Odumego-Ojukwu, has assured and reassured that, look, for every Nigerian in South Africa who has indicated interest for repatriation, they would be repatriated in no later than the 30th of June. So again, that's already in the works, that's already happening. But as it stands today, beyond evacuating Nigerians who have said they want to go back home, it is very clear that the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa has been badly damaged. So damaged now that some persons are even saying the Nigerian authorities should be demanding compensation from the South African government.
Yes, and it's very, if you watched all of those clips from the social media concerning our Nigerian brothers and sisters whose shops were burned, who had legal papers and they were maltreated in the cause of that, is so heartbreaking. Like I felt there was this particular one I saw about a man who has his papers, he has been there for how many years, and he had the effrontery, these South Africans had the effrontery to say, and you have been here working on our soil, doing all of those things. Hard work. This is his hard work. His sweat. This is a man that will wake up in the morning he had to sacrifice to get to where he was at that point. It's just unfortunate although Nigerians, we're quick to forgive, we're lovely individuals, but this has made me stop watching South African movies. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
You might have made a decision.
I made a decision. South African movies, I don't watch them anymore because I do not understand why you would do this to our Nigerian brothers and sisters. And then the thought of coming back home to what some of them have sold their properties. Some of them have decided to build a life outside Nigeria. Then they don't want to come back because of what they see here or what they saw here. No employment opportunities, where they'll be valued, where they'll be respected, where they can make a name for themselves, where they can have a good source of livelihood, where they can give their family greater and better future. And then they're coming back home to what now?
So is it enough to just come back home?
Is it enough to just come back home? I want to understand. Is there something that is in line or in the pipeline to actually help them stand on their feet? Because right now in Nigeria, as we speak, for as much as there are so many reforms which is not well spoken about by our dear President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that most people do not even know or you can actually benefit from government because we do not have that prior information. There are lots of things that are happening that we do not have prior information. So we need that awareness. That is why we feel nothing is happening in this administration. Fair enough, and I'm not holding brief for the president. I am not. But the truth is, there are so many things that are happening that is beneficial to you and I that are not spelled out or said to us that we understand. That aside, these Nigerians that are coming back, that have been evacuated from South Africa, they're coming home to what? Because right now, as we speak, we're still trying to figure out insecurity. We have the issue of banditry, terrorism, abduction, kidnapping, poor health care, poor education, high cost in transportation, inflation, high cost of food.
Right.
Fuel, we're still buying fuel at 1,300 from where we're coming from. So we have unemployment.
Right.
I'm not mentioning that part. Unemployment. I saw on social media how there was a particular vacancy in one club or something, and you could see so many people that came out in mass for that one position. So we have high rate of unemployment in Nigeria. So automatically I hope there have been some sort of arrangement for these individuals that are coming home, because it's gonna be more on us here. So for as much as this evacuation, which is good to save their lives, but I would tell you for free that some Nigerians would prefer to die in South Africa than to come back home with the frustrations that they feel they will have. Please let them come back home, and by the grace of God, proper arrangements will be made. They should be alive for their families. Very important, really.
All right, so great. So let's take a quick break now. This will be our last break on the program. This morning, Ogochukwu Mobuno is standing by with Social Pass.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues on social media. A viral video from Katsina State showing officers saluting and waving at armed men on motorcycles at a checkpoint has sparked nationwide outrage. However, the Nigerian police force officially clarified that the armed individuals were actually registered hunters and local vigilantes assisting security operations in the area rather than bandits. The rapid circulation of this footage prompted a public response from the authorities to prevent the spread of misinformation. Key details regarding the situation includes the public force relations officer that issued a statement confirming that the men were recognized members of the vigilante group of Nigeria operational contact. The police stated that the men were traveling to designated operational areas in the Maswa and Matazu local government area. Despite the police debunking the claims, the video raised alarm about the visibility of armed group in the northwest region. For ongoing updates, well, we are going to give you, of course, updates on that, because a lot of persons are really speculating that those were bandits. However, this is what the police has come out to say. You know what? These are not bandits, but 10 local hunters and vigilantes. Well, let's take a look at that video.
Kai me yasa kake haka ne Aminu? Kai wannan ma me yasa kake haka ne Aminu? Me yasa kake haka ne?
A sun tubo agima ne.
Well, that video kind of look like they are used to this footage of bandits wrapping their head, having sophisticated weapons and all of that, and that's basically what is seen here. But then if the police say that this is not what it is, well, we are all just keeping our fingers crossed and hoping that that's the truth. But a lot of persons on social media really has been seeing a lot, and also they just feel like the police are weak. If you can wave at some persons that are supposed to be threats to the community or the nation, then you are very weak. Well, this is what the police has said out there. Well, I am not alone today in the studio. I have with me Jumai Manson. Good morning, Jumai.
Good morning, Ogo. How are you doing today? It's
very
great
well. It's a cold morning, by the way.
It's a beautiful morning. No, rain is my best, and the cold weather is my best. Yes, it is.
So you must be enjoying this.
Oh, yes, I am.
All right. So, Jumai, let's talk about the footage has been circulating on social media since yesterday, the 24th of June. A lot of persons are scared seeing that number of people with they are all armed, sophisticated weapons wrapped around. They have wrapped their head on motorcycle. I think this, when you look at the dress code, when you look at the bike, you look at the guns they are holding, you just call them bandits. There's no way you say these persons are not terrorists, because this is what we have seen. That this is the footage or the pictures that we see about bandits. But right now, the police are saying, you know what, please free your mind of any form of suspicion. These people are hunters and also local vigilante men. Please, what do you say?
Okay. Hunters, and their heads are wrapped and they have sophisticated weapons. Hunters, of course, we know hunters now. They carry Dane guns. So where is this coming from? For me, I think the police has a lot of convincing to do, because we know we've had issues of policemen coming out giving statements and saying, okay, there was no abduction here, and they come back and tell us, oh, we're sorry, there was an abduction that took place. I'm just taking us aback a bit. But at the same time, I think this should really be looked into, because it's really scary. For that policeman that was waving, can you blame him? He was out of fear. And if you look at him critically, I'm sure he doesn't have those kind of guns that those individuals that the police are saying that they are hunters, that they have. But it's just unfortunate that this is where we are now. No one can stop and ask. At least at the beginning, I've got someone.
That's a checkpoint.
That's a checkpoint. Like, where are you going? What is going on here? No one could stop. They just actually cleared out the road, and that is why there are so many abductions and kidnappings that happen. That you see them carrying their victims on bikes, and no one can say anything. So it's really unfortunate and very suspicious and very scary at the same time. But a lot needs to be looked into it. As in, for goodness sake, how could you be on a bike with that sort of display with guns? Your face is wrapped, and there is no one to actually say something that, okay, these men are farmers, or not farmers, but they are hunters, they are vigilante groups, and they have to protect this particular community in case there's any outbreak of terrorism or kidnapping. But they are just going and waving their hands with their full chest. If I can say full chest, right?
Yeah, of course you can.
Your full chest. This is so scary. Like, are you kidding me right now? Where are we going to in Nigeria? The individuals are just carry guns. You are not in the army. You're not in the Air Force. You're not in the Navy. You're not even a police officer. And you have the effort to carry guns on a bike, and you're just going and, chanting. No. Farmers will not, hunters and vigilante.
To be very honest, I'm still scared. I understand that the police must have put out a statement out there, but I tell you that a lot of persons still do not believe this.
No, we cannot believe.
That over 99% of Nigerians don't believe this statement. You could even hear the person trying to take the video, making that video, it was saying, why are you behaving like this? Stop doing that. Like, stop waving at them. Because you can hear fear from the voice of that person. How can local hunters display like this in front of the police?
Are you kidding me?
No, but this is supposed to be a checkpoint. Nobody is saying what is going on, and how many persons have really seen local hunters with bikes like this, with their head wrapped, and you can't even access their face. You don't know who they are. They are holding their guns and their property. Like, a lot is really going on, and I think the police really needs to stand on their feet. And it's not just about going around looking at police officers that are doing well and all of that. But please, let's do the right thing. These are police officers on the road, but they are scared. They're even scared to stop these people. They're scared to say, you know what? Let's even check if you are really
what is going on?
A person or a hunter like you claim to be, or whatever it is. Nobody is stopping them. Instead, you're saluting them.
I'm waving. Carry on what we are doing. We're in support of what? No, we are not.
I'm scared. If we don't talk about this, it's going to spread. In fact, it's spreading. It has spread already. We've seen that happening in recently. Someone just said something that in Lagos, I think we're talking in the office, and someone said in Lagos, someone put an IED. I think that's
ID.
Something, yes, and it's exploded somewhere in Lagos.
Yes.
You can imagine how crowded Lagos is, how tight Lagos is. I feel like Lagos is one of the tightest.
Of course, it's really overpopulated. Yes, overpopulated. Yes, it is.
So the population is so much, and you can imagine someone actually putting that. I know anything can happen. You know, people are really wicked when they want to do something bad. People want to do something evil, like they go out of their way, they make sure that they do it. But you can imagine an overpopulated city like that, and they've already penetrated that kind of city. A lot of persons were saying, no, they can't do that in Lagos. That's why you've not heard anything about there in Lagos. But right now, it's happening in Lagos.
It's happening in Lagos.
It's happening in Lagos. So you cannot just say, it's just the northern thing. It's only happening in the north. It's happening in Lagos. It's getting to the south, everywhere in the country. So the more we talk about it, maybe we can get help from there. But right now, this is what I see right here. Plus the statement released by the police, I'm not buying that. I'm so sorry. I'm not buying it.
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
I know they're just trying to make everyone, I think
calm
that's the job
down.
of the police, to calm everybody
and
calm the situation. Of course, there should be further investigation.
Of course.
People who are going to get anything. That's why I said I'm going to bring you up this story.
Please do. Please do.
But for
Please
now,
do.
I'm still keeping my fingers crossed.
Me too. And hopefully the needful is done. And
Yes.
please, we need to get to the bottom and the root of all of this. All right, Ogo.
All right, thank you so much, Juma,
You're
for joining me today on the
welcome.
show, talking about insecurity in Nigeria. And yes, this is the size of our conversation here on Global Morning on Social Buzz. Until I come your way next time, please stay safe. Oyi and Juma will be, of course, closing up the show. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Story like the one Chukwu just shared now, which she interacted with Jomai about, is just a reminder that, insecurity is more complex than we realize.
Yes, it is.
Right? You can imagine those men at our checkpoints. They are first human beings before anything else. And they have seen real shaggy, as we say, right, before. I mean, they've heard stories, they've been on the front line, so they are no strangers to these things. It just shows that more work needs to be done.
Not only that, more work needs to be done. And of course, it's just unfortunate that this is where we are now, that we see individuals who are of suspicious character and men in uniform, like the police, are helpless, are scared for their lives. Right. They cannot even, hey, stop there with authority. Where are you going to? Because they're scared that they might be shot and killed.
A diplomat.
Exactly, you have to wait. So I actually, let's not fault that police officer. He was handicapped at that point. Do you know what it is for an individual to feel as if the life can be taken and snatched at that very minute? Right. So at least he did that out of fear. On a norm, I don't think he would ever do that. So they shouldn't carry it as a breaking news, because if you were in that particular position, what would you have done differently? So he was scared at that point. Right. But at the same time, this is where we are, and we really need as much as possible to douse this completely. Insecurity has to go. It has to go.
I think that's the final word.
It has to go.
Yes, insecurity has to go. Well, thank you to Ogochukwu for sharing that story with us this morning. That's all we have for you here on Global Morning today. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
I'm Oyagmo Freeway.
And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you all so much for being a part of the program, Global Morning. And from we and I, we say bye-bye.